Live on YouTube, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I hear that music, but it's a little low, at least for me.
All right, boys, we are live. Kicking it in, slow rolling with the iron sky that I've just been feeling lately. Jazzy. Oof.
I like it.
Welcome to another episode of The Correction with RT and Cheese, starring the Bitcoin Bravado logo.
Welcome, boys.
Oh, where's my second YouTube sneaking
Got
in
a little
here?
lag going there, don't you?
Yeah, I always got two rolling. Too many windows.
Too much. Too much. Cut it back.
I told you. Freaking out, man. Oh, there it is. I minimized it. Sneaking around. Okay.
It's all good, man.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. We are here today to share with you a few interesting little topics we want to talk about. Mainly
Absolutely.
a couple of TA 101s.
March Madness going on. What's going on out there, RT?
Yeah.
March Madness,
well,
indeed.
I couldn't tell you who I picked, but I did fire a few darts at a bracket today because
he was freaking out. He was like, "Wait, today's the last day? All right, let me go pick some
somebody's going to win that." I think I picked Duke. You know, I always end up with Duke because the first time I ever watched Duke won, I was like, "Yeah, Duke's life." But if you all don't like Duke, don't judge. I really don't know who they are. They're blue.
They're probably going to go out in the first round. RT. Sorry.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, that would be about my NCAA experience. So why don't you fire us off today? Start us off with your paper trade paradise.
Yeah, let's just dive right in, shall we? So this was a trade that we set up. I'm going to share my screen here. This is a trade that we set up on our paper trading account on Sunday when we went live. Let me share this here. All right, RT, can you see this?
Oh yeah.
All right, perfect. So what we did is we were looking at this thing and we were watching it coming down, and it was selling off. And then finally we popped up. And then so on Sunday on the 17th, right around this time frame, we said, let's do this. Let's put a trade on. Let's go live with this. And so our entry was 335 with the stop at 321. Now, what was interesting is on the 19th, which would have been like 3 a.m. on the 19th, or 7 a.m. rather, we came down within one sat. I think it was 336. And then RT, remind me, like you actually got filled in your real account around this area, right?
I got to apologize for that because I may have put a bottom in on that. I had a little order in at 336. I didn't even realize I was front running you, to be honest.
Yeah, front running my paper account, man. Fake money anyway. And so we initially seen the pop off there, and it went all the way to 369 sats. And at this point, I was thinking we've missed it. We've missed the trade. However, I left the paper trade on just for fun. And today, RT, you actually were following up with your stop, chasing the stop up on this trade on your live account, and you actually got wicked out, right?
Yes.
Yes. So where did you go out at?
It wasn't a wick out. I manually closed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I closed on the bounce just at scratch. I was like, you know what? If this isn't my trend, it's not my trend. But I could show you my chart. Yeah, my trend line broke.
Yeah, so ignore this. I always like to draw these trends just for general market direction. Obviously, I was not trading off of it, but this is about where we were on Sunday.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we're going to learn about how to draw proper trend lines today.
Yes. So we entered the trade. We came within one sat on that dip down. We came within one sat of being actually stopped out for 6,000 of these AION coins. So on $1,000 account, I think is what we set our settings at. We are in at 335, filled for 6,000, stop loss 321. Right now we're up about $26 against the dollar on this trade. So our target one isn't all the way up here until quite a ways. Can't even get it on my screen here. There we go.
Lex Vision hanging out here in the live stream, YouTube, and I'm just going to see if anybody has a coin in mind, something on TradingView that you want us to feature while I teach a little bit about trend lines and fib retracements, which are my two main bays. Almost fib for sure. I don't know about trend lines, but I like them. Anyways, let me know if you have a coin in mind. Otherwise, I'll just do it on Bitcoin.
Good. So we're looking for 550 here on our paper trade. So far, we're just chilling in the green here, man.
Yeah.
So
I have a reason why I closed my AION. Maybe I'll talk about.
So you closed and you didn't get back in, right?
Yeah, I'm not back in yet.
Right. And you're going to talk about that a little bit when you're talking about trend lines, right?
Exactly. Actually, you know what? Let me just pull up my AION chart.
Yeah, let's share your screen there.
Fairly similar to yours. And I'll explain a little bit. So I've been in the Discord this week talking a little bearish to everybody, mainly because I want to talk a little bit about this BTC trend line, the long-term downtrend line that we are approaching. But anyways, real quick. So here is my AION chart. I got my fill right here. Got bounced up. I was cheering, going, yeah, hit the bottom. And here's the trend line that sort of, I would like to say, the real trend line.
Not my fake stuff.
No, this is like, I mean, if everyone draws them the wrong way, then that's, that will be a trend line that will get followed because it's on everyone's chart. But if you want to draw it properly, and we may as well get into it right now, you need to select a trend line tool. Best, I think, is to use the magnet, which kind of sticks you to the bottom of these wicks. You can see me bouncing, right? So that's where you get your exactness from, your kind of computer machine exactness. Now you just click on the very bottom, or in some cases the top, right? Or where you want to start your trend.
Right.
Then you have to take it up and you have to connect it to the next sort of pivot low, all right? So a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, this one fits better. It's okay, cool, but it's not valid. And I wouldn't want to trade off an invalid trend line personally. So you just go up to this next pivot low. And, some people are like, well, I draw them from the bottom of candles and that. I mean, I'm not here to say.
First question is, do you do the wicks? Do you do the bottom of the candle? What do you personally? It looks like you just stick to the wicks, right? The low point.
Yeah. And I think I should frame this conversation a little closer rather than saying what's wrong. People do what people do, and that's fine. I'm talking about what I do. So you get the extension on, and then it just kind of auto draws the rest of it, which is a nice, handy little feature. And I actually like, make it a little thinner if you don't need to have it thick. Okay, now look, that is a potential. So at this point, I could draw this and it'll extend up, and it was just into thin air, right? Nothing was here yet. So then you need market structure on top of the trend line. So here we had bullish market structure forming, and this is actually why I drew this line. When it crossed here, that confirmed market structure above the trend. Therefore, this trend line becomes valid. So it was a potential, market structure, confirmation. Now it's a valid trend, and you can anticipate when the price comes down, it will actually respect it. If it had just gone like this and then gone, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's going to hold. It's a trend line, right? So you really need that market structure to confirm.
So how, real quick, how did you draw that top teal line there, that 317 sat? Like, why is that the point that we need to get above?
Right here?
Yeah, like why is it at that point that it becomes a valid trend?
Yeah, good question. So that is our sort of what you might call neckline. So when you're looking at bullish market structure, I'm thinking about, inverse head and shoulders, double bottoms, W's is the way I was taught to look for it. Okay. So you would draw across this neckline here. Arguably could have been here if you want to go candle bodies, right? But it was this bullish move here. You've got your sort of double bottom, higher high or higher low, right here. And then once that breaks that neckline, that's like, okay, market structure confirmed. And you can see in the price that it's, we'll look at it go, boom. As soon as that market structure broke that neckline, price took off.
And people that buy that neckline, when that neckline opens up like that, people who get long at that point are technically considered breakout traders. because
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to be kind of into the day trade
now, absolutely
scalps, exactly. And that's why, you're like, well, who are people buying these green candles, this FOMO crowd? But a lot of traders make their money on those technical.
Somebody's got to push the market higher, man.
Exactly. So we got a request here in the YouTube channel here. We're just going to take a quick look at Engine. And so today I want to talk about my two favorite technical tools, because when I start looking for a trade, so my strategy is, number one, I hunt for location, right? I want to buy or sell a coin in the right area on the chart. If it's not got location, I don't even go to number two. But if I do have location, which I'll talk about in a sec, then I am hunting for divergence. So I want it to be in the right area and heading back the other way. So I'll use indicators for that. And then lastly, if I get a coin that's in the right location, I'm seeing some divergence on maybe the MACD, maybe on the Willie Stupid is one of my favorites. Then I will take a look at that. Now, number three, if I find those two things, I will then hunt for market structure confirmation. Okay. Like I just talked very briefly about. Now, this stuff you will not learn in a half-hour episode, but I'd definitely like to share with you what I'm talking about with these fibs.
Make it less cryptic here for us, RT.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can help you out, because I talk about this all day in the Discord, and a lot of guys are like, dude, I just don't get it. Just tell me where to enter.
What's this guy talking about?
And I really don't want to tell people my entries and exits, not because I'm secretive about them, but because I want to teach and sort of say, like, this is why I'm doing it. Maybe you should chart this coin and, find your own entries in the same, like sharing ideas rather than signals. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's take a quick look. Again, fibs can be drawn any which way. I'm going to try to share with you how I draw them in what I believe is the most correct way. You want the bottom of the move. So what I used to do is just here where it starts, the breakout. But as you can see, there was actually more movement down. Slightly more correct if you go right down to the bottom of the move right here.
Find the actual bottom.
Drag it from bottom to top if you're looking. So, yeah. Now, as you can see, these numbers here starts at 0 at the top, because as you're retracing, that's what you're measuring, the down move, the retracement. So one is one full retracement all the way back down, right? 0.5, you're 0.5 of the way, 50% of the way back down. Okay, now shout out to Brian Beamish, the guy who has taught me all of this stuff. I just can't use his terminology without giving him a quick shout out. So at CR Investor on Twitter, great guy, very smart. He taught me a lot of this. Okay, so this 382 level is where you will often see a coin touch back to when it's on like a trend, like a bull trend, and sometimes it'll just stop here and then keep going. So 382 is key. There's sometimes a 236 on the default. I don't even look at that, don't care. So the 382 is the first sort of key level, and as you can see here, price has sort of been respecting it, and we're taking off again. Now the cool thing about these fibs, and the way I've got mine drawn, I actually added a level, the 702, which is halfway between 618 and 786, which is sort of what I call the reload zone, or RLZ. I've heard it be called like the golden area or whatever. There's a lot of names for it. It is not just obviously a me thing. It's a very key level. And that's where a lot of bots and algos and traders will look to get back in or get in. So if they're up here, they took profits, and then it's reload once it gets down here. Actually, I want to pull up a quick little thing here today, because WanChain actually had a perfect example of this today. Look at this thing. Okay, so you just a quick fib, bing, bing, bing. Let's make sure I got that top correctly. And look at that. Right in, dipped into the reload zone, almost touched the sweet spot. This is where you could be picky and move it around, but I won't. Yeah, and look at that. Right in, basically on the sweet spot. Nothing's perfect. And then it closed.
Bada bang, bada boom.
And look at that. Close right up on the top of it, 618. And I would imagine, because like I just said, tons of orders were sitting here and they're happy to buy it up to the reload, because this thing just broke out on huge volume and is likely to continue. But now here, for 2 weeks, who's chasing that, right? They're getting dumped on. They're getting dumped on. So for 2 weeks, I actually bought a little wine thinking I'm going to get in and then I'm going to buy some drops. Not sure. My entry might have been around here at the 382. sort of in case it just kept going, and it didn't. So it dropped in, and I'm not buying
Now
it.
on these fib entries, right? What you're calling the RLZ, this reload zone. What would be your like if you're buying this blind and it's gonna be filled overnight? Where would you put your stop?
Yeah, and so okay, so for me personally, this is like just for the hunting location.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. So for a stop, typically, you might say, "Oh, I'm going to go below the RLZ because if it drops way through there." I find a lot of times, especially trading with Jack in the Discord, I find a lot of him. They get their bullish order blocks down here. They're often just below the RLZs sometimes. So like with our power entry we made in February, I think it was maybe late January. We're still in that trade.
Yeah, we are still in that.
Yeah, and his level was like here, and I was looking at it going, nah, man, I want out if it goes down there. He's like, trust me, this is our spot. And it came down. I think it missed our second entry by about 2 pips, but it did pull through here, and then got back up and in there. So typically for stops, I will look a little below this and not right on the edge because you don't want to get wicked on that nastiness.
So usually if you're buying, like, let's say if you're looking at engine coin, you're like, I'm just gonna let some orders rest here for a while in this RLZ. You wouldn't necessarily put a stop on those orders. You would just kind of like set some alarms once you got filled on those orders, just kind of let them sit there for a while. And if they get hit, then you'd start monitoring the situation a little bit more closely, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is fairly sort of situation dependent in that, rarely will I just like set orders down here and like hope for a wick into it. I do sometimes, but I actually look for coins that are consolidating mostly in here because you can get your location. They're down in here. You can get your divergence. Ooh, look, there's like lower low in price and a higher low in MACD, and it confirms. And then you can have your market structure where you're getting sort of like a, like a nice little double bottom, and then it breaks out here.
Absolutely.
Right. And then, it comes out, retests, and then goes. Like that would, I guess, be like the perfect frame trade that I look for. But obviously trading is like an art, and I'm not at a point yet where I'm mechanical with it yet. So yeah, absolutely. Like on Juan today with that big old dumpy do.
Right. You would have had to have those orders already set.
Exactly. And just because I just said it again, but let's check it. So like here, we zoom in, we could drill into like a 15-minute, and we may see that's not bullish market structure. Oops.
Right.
I don't actually love that. As far as I'm looking for W's, these look a lot more like M's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's trying to get up, fail, trying to get up, fail, trying to get up, fail. My guess is if we lose this neckline, I'm not surprised the initial reaction was to bounce there, but look at this.
Right.
All right. This ain't bullish to me.
Becoming more and more bearish in that situation.
More and more bearish, yeah. And like the EMA crossed here, and it's looking to cross back. So my guess is we'll come back in here. Real quick, I should probably just frame my current state of mind on the market, which means I need to pull up my Bitcoin chart. Let's see if I have it saved. I'm gonna
show us the corn, bro.
The corn first gain. No, I'm messing with gain this week. Oh, BCC downtrend line. Yeah. Okay. So here's sort of my bigger look at the market, which I want to share because I think we are due for a little shakeout of the alts, if not just some proper dumpage. Okay. So if we really zoom out, we're good. Yeah. Okay. So here we are. So again, trend line, if based on sort of today's lesson, same thing, right? You draw your wick, and then you extend, and look at that, right? And so where would this have confirmed? Well, there was our second move. So we have our structure. This trend line confirmed on this breakdown through this neck.
Right, once you pass through those levels there.
Yeah, so like this one took a while to confirm, but it did right here. And look, as soon as it confirmed, gross. I hated that. That was painful. That one was painful. I was like, oh, I'll just sell the bounce.
Right. No bounce.
And that was, another year in time. Learned a lot. So this is sort of the trend line that I am watching right now. Obviously, a lot of people are. This is the Finex chart. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. It is a couple $100 off of every other chart in the world. Okay.
Premiums, baby. Premiums.
We are approaching it. right? It's inevitable. We will hit it at some point, or we're going to hit this uptrend, right? So I drew a high low where you go the high right through to the low, and then you extend from there. And look at that. Love it. Sexy. Right on the 200 weekly MA. So, I mean, that's another kind of trend line for another day. But basically, we are coming to a head here, and something's got to give. And since we've had this nice sort of, what is that, 5 weeks off our low here.
It's been a while. We've been just kind of very
and we're not going hard.
Upwards.
I mean, I'd like to look at this and say like, woohoo, woohoo, woo, and we're going to go. But
we're talking like $200, $300 moves here.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
We're slowing down.
The Bitcoin volatility days of old.
Yeah. So obviously we took a little dump today. And you saw how the altcoins like shook hard. And that's sort of what I talked about in the Discord on Monday, was that I'm reducing altcoin exposure because look at this. I mean, we've had a nice run. A lot of alt bags are running up. And
right.
Noriko, sorry, you asked in the chat here a little while. RLZ. When I say that, I'm talking about reload zone.
That's that green box of fibs.
Yeah, it's the name that I was taught to just call this area. You can call it anything you want, but it's this sweet area. So if you want to know how
the go long area.
Yeah, if you want to know how I set it up, you go to your fib settings. I take out the 236. Doesn't really matter to me. So 382.5. I put in this level custom myself because I noticed that within the RLZ, I was getting a lot of action on this middle line. So I just kind of created it and color coded it to make it stand out. And it does hit a lot. And so, blue and teal, I could change it to pink and it'll turn pink, right? So just do that. So this is where I mark. So
you like green because green is bullish.
Yeah. And here's the fun thing. What was the one? Tube. Was it Tube?
Man.
Tube hit it. Perfectly. What was it? There was a coin yesterday that just went right up into the short RLZ. So you can actually draw them the other way. Let me show you. You can draw these the other way as well. So if you want to retrace to the short side, so you draw from the top of this move, you can actually draw it down, connect it down here to that low right here. And look at that. So this is sort of the opposite. So up here, the longs are looking to take profit here. Not everyone, obviously, right? A lot of people are like, I'm going all the way up, but you will see a lot of traders playing in the RLZs going both ways. And it's actually been a remarkable tool since I started using it. How many times I set my take profits here and it just wicks right into them and then drops back down. And I love it. So this is my number one tool. You'll see it on every one of my charts. It's the first thing I look at when I touch a chart of any kind. And it's programmable. It's very kind of math based. So you can see, if it's 70% of the market's going to be algorithm trading and bots, they're programming to these. That's why you get so much respect on these levels. Here.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bing, bing. Like you just see it play off the fibs so much. So number one tool for old RT. Yeah. So my theory or my thought on this whole BTC thing is that, as we approach this level, Bitcoin's going to do, one of three things. It's going to just chill and go right through, which is like highly unlikely in my opinion, possible, improbable, or it's going to pop up, break right through, and probably on some kind of, because once that happens, everyone will be like, yeah, and you'll get
Bitcoin all-time highs.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of longs flying.
4,000.
It could always go and then crash down, or it's just going to drop and it's going to get rejected.
Fake out.
All of those scenarios, except for the unlikely one of it doing nothing, going right through, they are going to be bad for alts, especially alts that are, many of them are overbought right now. I was actually going through yesterday. I got this nice little here indicator. I don't think it's private, but check it out. It's the Williams R midpoint, and it does a lot better on like a daily or a 4 hour. But what it does is it tracks sort of overbought and oversold conditions, and it highlights in red when this EMA that runs through it is embedded in the overbought or oversold. And I'm noticing a ton of alts are just chilling up here and overbought. And when BTC gets volatile, things that are up here, they dump the hardest. Okay. Just
I agree.
Heads up. That's sort of my never buy zone. And look at this, my favorite alt. You see me? You know me sneaking over to the box chart, and I
Yeah,
noticed
every week we're looking at box here, aren't we?
But well, look at it though. This is crazy.
Making new highs, I know.
Well, it's making new highs, but it's still oversold, and that blew my mind yesterday.
This guy, he's gonna try to tell us that this coin is oversold. And how high up is it?
It's oversold.
It's
I
like
was looking yesterday through my list of Binance coins, and I was like looking for ones that were oversold. I wanted to go long on something, you know, like set up some dip, you know, some kind of long position or trade setup, whatever. And everything was overbought, and I was like, "Damn it, I can't get into anything right now. It's against my trade plan." But then I came over here to box, which I mean,
I'll buy more of it.
I've already obviously long, but look at this. It's oversold. I don't know how that is. I mean, things been like pop. This is the little tweet I put out the other day, so I got some arrows on it for sort of where I've been long and short. But yeah, I don't know. It's the only alt I found that's oversold.
Somebody stop them.
So I think I've been calling this for like months. And if you've been following and you know, have been thinking about finding your own setups on it, well, pop. I actually got a sell there. I did not have sell set here because I'm at this point, I'm just waiting for this certain announcement that I'm waiting on. Look at this though. We're down in the RLZ. Okay, so this is the first one I drew from the full move where we just topped almost right to that sweet spot we just learned about. Nice example to share with you on the stream. And now we've got some bullish market structure forming. Let's see if we can drill into that a little bit. Yeah, and it's low-ish volume, so it looks a little choppy and gross, but you know, you've got your...
Go to the 1 minute.
Yeah, no. I don't fuck with the 1 minutes ever. But you know, we've kind of got some of this like more of a W formation stuff coming in, and that's what I like to see. I don't want it to be down here and then like emming out and looking like it's about to break down. So, yeah,
got a question for you here. Do you always draw these fibs on the 4 hour? Like, is that the most important area for you to kind of draw them, or?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. No, there's no, you know, exact rule that I know of. I draw on the 4 hour because it's my favorite time frame to trade off. You know, if you're trading in a thing you want to get out by the end of the day, you probably want to be trading on setups that take place in like the 15-minute, 30-minute. 1 hour would be your high time frame kind of thing. For me, I'm looking at like 8 to 40-day trade kind of windows usually. More of a midterm sort of guy right now. 40 is a lot actually. More like 3 to 12 days, realistically, given the sort of choppy bearish place for him. So anyways, yeah, so this is looking good actually. I mean, I'm kind of loaded up. It's the top bag I have right now, so I can't really buy more, but like, I mean, I like that this is doing this right here. So this is like the more shorter term RLZ. So I drew this fib. So you can, that's the nice thing about these fibs too. You can draw sort of one within another. So the bigger picture is the big one. And then we Fibception. Yeah, I just drew one off this one move. And I was waiting to get in. I think I bought at the top of my box, bought a little bit just near the bottom. You know, didn't mark those yet, but somewhere around there. I'd have to check the exact before I put it on officially, but a couple buys here. And then, yeah, and this time I may actually set some sells, although this was $1 million spike on a low volume coin, like $1 million, like $100
million flowed into that coin. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, like 160 Bitcoin just came pouring in this day. I want to say it's like one entity that did it, but it wasn't in one market buy, so it was in a day.
So it's hard to tell. Yeah,
somebody
is buying.
Correct. Box. Jump. Somebody's loading up. I mean, all these were big single buys, and with what I know that's coming. In theory, I mean, they said it was a couple weeks ago, would be out. So I'm kind of sad that it's not yet, but it was an announcement with a major league sports team that is going to presumably partner with them under the premise of ticketing. So I would imagine like run a little pilot, sell some of their game tickets or something using their protocol, which is huge for like a $2 million market cap coin.
I love it.
It's honestly, it's a mystery. You know, everyone's like, this is undervalued, my coin. But honestly, Box, I am shocked. I'm still shocked that it's as low as it is because these guys, you know, I guess it's a bit of a bias too because you're so close to it that you watch it so much and you talk to them so much. But we'll see. I mean, they're on Trex. These guys are in the States. They're running New York City bottle service on their app. Just added crypto payments. Jeez, I feel like I'm running out of voice. Like I'm talking too much.
It's because you've been talking the whole time, RT.
I know, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear from
All
you.
right, we're gonna look at a coin. This is currently a coin that's out by Bravado. We're just gonna jump right in. We're gonna review it and we'll call it a day. I was gonna put out, take a look at something else, but I'll tell you, this one's got me interested. Is we're gonna
Rico asked about VeChain. I just want to share. I'll pull up a chart on that while you're doing that. I got to stop my share, so you pull up your share.
Yeah.
Do your thing, and I'll just take a quick peek at VeChain because I do have a chart on it that I've been looking at. So might as well.
All right, so here's OMG on the daily candles. We're actually in this trade. Let me pull up the original posting of OMG here out of the Bravado Discord. Let me see here.
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes. We can run a few minutes late tonight. Looks like we've got some. We got some.
Perfect. Yeah. So this was the original Bravado setup on OMG. I just pulled this screenshot out of the Discord. Our entry was 317, the stop loss of 293. So pretty good R&R with our first target being 421. So let's go back over here. Let's throw a line on 327. 317, excuse me. Yeah, we got in. We got in on a nice spot there. Our first target was 425. I'm pretty sure we did. Yes, we did hit that 425 in that general area. And 440, 454. Just recreating the Bravado chart here. 454. Yeah, slightly above that other one. And 476. And I think they even have targets higher than that. 476. So pretty close. So as you can see, this trade is up big time already. Target one was closed a few days ago. 33%, yeah. And so right now we're currently sitting at around 23% gain on that. Now, what's interesting is Bitcoin is down on the day, right? Like it's a red day right now for Bitcoin, and yet we still have alts that are green. And so a lot of people are beginning to sell their alt positions to kind of hedge for a Bitcoin short. I know, RT, you've done that. I know Professor Don has done that as well. He's actually short on Bitcoin to cover any losses he might take on.
Oh, did Don do that too?
Yes. So Don went short today on Bitcoin.
Get a chance to look at the
short bias, so he's a little late to the bear party with you. But alas, he is there now. So here's what I'm looking at. These things that have, and then this is a question I got earlier. People are like, well, aren't you concerned about Bitcoin dumping? Won't that affect everything else? And the answer is yes. However, based upon the way I trade using just price action, no indicators here, although sometimes I will peep them. But based upon what I'm seeing in the charts here, I should have everything I need in these candles about what I think price is going to do. Regardless of what Bitcoin does, regardless of what the world economy does, I should have everything I need to know to base off how to trade this chart in this chart right here. So what we were looking at originally when we got into this trade is we had lows printed here, right? Let me just color this and I'm just throwing these on here. They're slightly off a little bit. They're not precise. We had the lows put in here again, these are all-time lows at this time, right? Because here's your original all-time low back in December of 17, run to the high in May, and then downtrending ever since then. So you get this here, new lows, start to creep back up. I, on my personal account, actually caught a big move of this upside. But then ultimately we made newer lows. And what's interesting here is we're continuing to make newer lows. And so we want to begin to wait to get long until we gain some positions, which we did right here.
I was just going to say, that's a nice little inverse.
Yeah, little inverse head and shoulders kind of deal. Absolutely. So this is your new low. Trade below it here. Don't close below it. So you automatically know this 310, this 312 area, this is of importance. Ultimately, you do break down on the middle of February. And so we look for what took us to that low, which was the 327 area. We closed above it on 619. And so now we want to begin. What's the next level we need to close above to go higher? Well, you look at your next sort. I think you call them pivot points, right? And so
Pivots.
If we got one right here, 370. And look, here's what the beautiful thing is: just by looking at price charts on here, regardless of what the news is saying, regardless of anything, what I'm seeing now is if I could put this here, I automatically look. You got resistance here, more resistance here, support here, right? And so this is actually a beautiful setup. So I would still go long on this personally, even with the incoming Bitcoin volatility, most likely, because if you were going to go in it long it here, you would want to, if you start to break down below this area here, you'd want to start looking for stops, something like that. But again, Bitcoin Bravado, we're in all the way down here at 317. So we're not even worried. We're just chilling in our profits at this point. We've locked in a portion of profits on this wick here. And we're just waiting on these next targets to kind of hit, and then we'll reevaluate. Because ultimately what could happen is we could do something like this. Let me get a wave. And I know anyone who does trades Elliott Wave, I'm going to make them really mad right now. But
so much I want to talk about today. You think we could extend this one today?
Absolutely. Right. So here,
go.
Here, maybe we do something like this. Right. And then maybe we take a dump all the way back down to get fresh lows. That is totally possible, right? Because this area here is huge resistance, right? And why is it huge resistance? Well, the issue is because at one point it was huge support.
That's right? A POC. Yeah, that would be the POC for the VP.
Right. So huge support becomes huge resistance on the flip side. It's the same reason why this held a support here. It's the same reason as this held a support here, right? This was resistance down here, support, and off we go to the races. So what's going to be
up there to make and then come down and do a right shoulder. You see that bigger inverse head and shoulders that could play out?
From off this level here,
that's the left shoulder.
7. So something like this.
To see. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And that would be
all the while we're still in it from way down here as a Bitcoin Bravado crew. We're not too concerned about it. If we do get above this area here, this 550 sat area, then I think the next major spot again is going to be up in this area, the 1050. And again, that we'll just play it as it comes. I'm not calling new all-time highs yet on this. To get new all-time highs, obviously we would need to get above this resistance right here, 2500 area, which could totally happen. But as of now, the trend is your friend, as always. And one thing that traders need to remember is the lower time frames always follow the higher time frame trend. So if you go to the month,
they defer to the higher time frames. Yeah.
Right. This on the month, we've been in a downtrend ever since this thing hit Binance back in September. Even this entire pop from 400 sats all the way up to 2,500 sats. This is technically still within the monthly downtrend from 3,300 until it makes new highs there. So high time frame monthly, you're still in a downtrend. On the weekly, I think it's starting to get a bit better, right? So downtrend, you actually had an uptrend on the weekly once you got above this 1,200 area. And again, look how accurate.
Yeah, it flipped it there, right? Because then it pivoted off it again.
Here we go. We're going down. You smack off this level. It sends you to your all-time lows at the time. You trade into it, hit resistance this week. Sends you all the way back down 900, and then boom, and then now support. Ultimately, broke down there.
Yeah, look at that. The second it breaks, boom, straight down.
Yeah,
and that's sort of more.
The party's over, right?
Proof is in the pudding there that these are real market structures, right? So traders are looking for those technical levels, and if they break, they're selling until bottoms.
Again, anytime every time that a downtrend happens, you need to see areas of accumulation. Which even though we've celebrated some big wins on OMG already as the Bravado group, we're still in the downtrend, right? So until we get above, and this is why a lot of our take profit is in this general area right here, right below 476 sats here. Huge area of resistance. We definitely expect this to smack down lower, maybe to new all-time lows, maybe not. We're going to leave a percentage open in case we do get above there. Start looking for much higher time frame area.
I may have to cut you off there. We're at the 40-minute.
All right.
Just real quick, I'll say right on your chart there. I mean, good point that you're looking to take profits at that first blue level because you could hold through the right shoulder theoretically, or maybe right shoulder. You could hold to a potential whatever. But you're not liquid, right? The second you take those profits, you're now your hands are free and you can start looking at juicier setup, something that's a little more imminent. So as much as, it'd be nice to carry that OMG to the moon, as traders, it's important to stay liquid. And that doesn't mean in and out all the time, right? There's some traders that like to go into 8-month swings, 5-year swings, whatever.
Yeah.
But the way that this crypto market works, the 4 hours is basically like a daily. Like a lot happens in 24 hours in crypto. And personally, I like staying as liquid as possible. So yeah, in a year, you're going to look at that OMG and be like, oh, should have held it. But what did you do with that Bitcoin in the meantime, man?
Right.
Maybe you caught the tube breakout like last night we were talking about in the Discord. Sorry, I got into a ramble there, but let me just fire up this vet real quick.
All right, I'm gonna shoot it back over to you, and then
shoot it over to me. I'm gonna show what we got.
While you're pulling that out, let me read this quick disclaimer. The information provided by Bitcoin Bravado and accompanying material is for informational purposes only and should not be used as basis for any investment or other purposes. It should not be considered legal or financial advice. The information is governed by our terms of use. You should consult with an attorney or other professional to determine what may be best for your individual needs. We are not a registered investment advisor, and we are not recommending that you buy anything. We're simply sharing our thoughts with you along with our plan of attack.
Boom. You're getting better at that.
Got to get that in there.
I thought I was a bit of an auctioneer, but I think you got that down. Uh-oh. Did my Google Chrome just freeze?
So you've actually froze on my video as well.
Oh, no. It happened. Why did it happen? Well, I guess...
I don't know. Close us down then.
Rico, I don't know if you were in our Discord. That's too bad because I was going to check in with you right here. If you draw the reverse RLZ on VET, you can find yourself some take profits. It did just test a neckline. Breakout, come back, test the neckline, and it's now moving up. I figure it's got some upside left. Aside from my whole, you still hear me, Cheese?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
So aside from my whole Bitcoin theory about alts generally taking a dump, I think VET is probably good to go.
We're long on VET as a Bravado group as well. I think we're in from much lower though.
Are we?
Let me check what our official.
I checked our spreadsheet. It wasn't in there. I think we were, and then we had to close it out.
Keeps taking that out.
Yeah, we might have had to close that out. But anyways, I know some of us, like in general in the Discord, are long. I don't know that it's on our official plays. We might be actually. God damn it. I was so close. Maybe the 40-minute mark is just the world.
Zoom is cutting us off, my friend.
Saying chill out. Why don't you close us off there, Cheesy? I may have to reboot the computer to actually shut
us down here.
Something about my resolution.
We are in VET from 117, by the way. I'm not sure.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
We've got a super sweet entry on that. We're riding that with no stop loss as well. We'll play it by ear if we ever get back down there. But for now, that is it for us, guys. Again, RT and She's here with making crypto less cryptic, the correction. That's why we're here. If you got questions, shoot them over to us, DM us, get in the Bitcoin Bravado Discord if you want to join the community of traders, and we'd love to have you there. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.
I might have to reboot here and shut her down, so we may linger for a sec. But take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and hit me up in the Discord if you want to learn a little more about what I taught tonight. Happy to help.
See you guys next week.